What if the real secret to learning a new language isn't just about cramming vocabulary? What if it's about unlocking a kind of mental toolkit you already have for learning itself? Today, we're going to dig into how you can go from just studying a language to becoming a super effective, self-aware learner. Let's get right into it. So, we've all been there, haven't we? You're practicing, you're hitting the books, but you just hit a wall, a plateau. You find yourself making the exact same grammar mistakes over and over, or you just can't seem to make that new vocabulary stick. It is for sure one of the biggest frustrations for any language learner. But what if the answer isn't just more practice, but a totally different kind of practice? Well, the secret really lies in two super powerful mental tools that the best learners use, a lot of the time without even knowing they're doing it. Okay, first up is metacognition. The simplest way to think about this is, it's like the CEO or the manager of your brain's learning department. It's not down in the weeds, doing the memorization. It's the part of you that steps back and asks the big questions like, all right, how am I going to tackle this chapter? Or, am I actually getting this concept? Or, you know what, did that study method even work for me? It's your own internal quality control. The second tool is called Metalinguistic awareness, or MLA for short. So if metacognition is the manager, MLA is the super specialized analyst on the team. It's this ability to look at language not just as something we use to talk, but as a system, a puzzle with rules and patterns. It's like putting on a pair of X-ray goggles that let you see the grammatical skeleton of a sentence. You can spot the nouns, the verbs, the tenses, all of it. So let's just put them side by side for a second. Metacognition, that's the manager. It's asking those big picture questions like, am I getting this? Metalinguistic awareness, that's the analyst. It's zooming way in on the technical stuff, asking, wait, is this noun countable or uncountable? So to put it simply, one manages how you learn and the other analyzes what you're learning. But here's the absolute key. These two tools, they don't work separately. They actually form this powerful dynamic partnership. And when they work together, your learning it accelerates like crazy. Let's see how that actually works. You can kind of think of their relationship like this. Metacognition is the big, broad umbrella of just being self-aware in your learning. And metalinguistic awareness, that's a very specific, specialized tool that lives under that umbrella, one that's applied directly to the nuts and bolts of language. It's a key part of the bigger metacognitive toolkit. So here's how this whole partnership plays out in a real moment of struggle. Imagine you're trying to tell a story in a new language and you just freeze. That feeling? That's your metacognitive manager sounding the alarm bell, going, whoa, I'm stuck. It recognizes there's a problem. Then it immediately calls in your MLA analyst, which quickly reports back with a diagnosis. The problem's the verb tense. You need the past tense here, not the present tense. Boom. And what this does is create this amazing feedback loop. The better your MLA gets at analyzing all the little details of the language, the more accurately your metacognition can spot the errors. And then, in turn, the better your self-monitoring gets, the more it pushes you to analyze the language even deeper, which strengthens your MLA. See? Each skill makes the other one stronger. It's a cycle. Okay, so that's all the theory, but how does this toolkit actually work in practice, day to day? Let's walk through 3 really crucial scenarios where this makes all the difference in your learning journey. We're going to look at 3 really key areas, this idea called noticing, the absolutely critical skill of self-correction, and how we can consciously use what we already know from our first language. This brings us to a famous idea from a guy named Richard Schmidt called the noticing hypothesis. It's a really simple but profound idea. You can be surrounded by a language all day long, but you only learn the parts you consciously pay attention to. Just hearing it isn't enough. Noticing is where the learning happens. And this is exactly where that toolkit becomes so important. Think of your metacognition as a big spotlight. It's what directs your attention to a gap between how you said something and how a native speaker says it. It's that, hey, wait a second, notice that moment. Then, your MLA is the magnifying glass. It zooms right in to analyze what exactly is different. Is it the word order, the verb ending, the preposition? The second area is self-correction. Here, metacognition is the alarm bell, that little gut feeling that goes, whoops, that didn't sound quite right. It flags the potential error. Then MLA is the repair kit. It's what provides the specific grammar knowledge you need to fix it. This same process is crucial for dealing with your native language too. Your brain's manager might flag a sentence that feels off because you're accidentally using a rule from your first language. Your analyst then jumps in to figure out exactly how the new language's grammar is different, turning a potential mistake into a real learning moment. Now, what's really fascinating is that the way we use this toolkit isn't static. It actually evolves as we get better and better at a language. The partnership between that manager and the analyst totally changes depending on your skill level. When you're a novice, you are leaning so heavily on your analyst, your MLA. You're constantly thinking, okay, rule, remember to add an S for the third person singular. As you get to be an intermediate learner, a lot of those rules start to become automatic, and your metacognitive manager just pops in mainly to catch mistakes. But for advanced learners, the toolkit gets deployed for some really high-level stuff, like deconstructing sarcasm, understanding formal tone, or even appreciating literary nuance. So, here's the most important point. These are skills, and just like any other skill, they can be trained, they can be improved. Let's look at a few practical, hands-on strategies you can use to build up your own metacognitive and metalinguistic muscles. Let's take error analysis, for example. Just keeping a log of your mistakes, that's a metacognitive act of monitoring your own progress. But then, going in and categorizing those errors, figuring out if they're about verb tense or prepositions, that's a metalinguistic act of analysis. It's the same thing when a teacher gives you a bunch of examples and asks you to figure out the rule yourself. They're training both skills at the same time. You're managing your own discovery process while you're also analyzing linguistic patterns. Really, this all boils down to one core idea. The most effective language learners are not just passive sponges for information. No, they are active managers of their own learning process. They don't just study the language, they study how they study the language. So, I'll just leave you with this question. The next time you sit down to study or practice, don't just focus on the words on the page. Take a second to think about your thinking. Ask yourself what you're really paying attention to. What are you going to choose to notice about your own learning process today?